this is something that I actually want to put myself into. I know what I'm capable of. A lot of my lyrics are personal to me, so giving them lyrics to another artist to me would be like giving away a part of myself and the lyrics that I
Yeah.
should be singing, the lyrics that I want to sing.
Every life has a soundtrack. Join me as we invite guests to share their journey through music, one song at a time. 10 moments, 10 memories. I'm your host, Sean, and welcome to 10 Tracks.
Are you ready?
Welcome to 10 Tracks. My guest today is Daniel Alspach. Daniel's a genre-blending music artist known for crafting emotionally rich, atmospheric soundscapes. Daniel's work combines introspective songwriting with modern production, creating music that feels both deeply personal and universally relatable. With a big focus on storytelling and sonic exploration, he continues to push creative boundaries and connect with listeners through honest expression. Daniel, welcome to 10 Tracks.
It's nice to be here, Sean.
So tell me where in the world you are.
I am from Ohio, a small town called Fostoria,
Okay.
United States.
What's the closest big town to you? Cleveland or Cincinnati?
Probably Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, it I saw some of your stuff on YouTube and it was pretty spectacular.
Oh, thanks, man.
I I really like
Um,
all the all the talking and stuff you did with people. Yeah, it was really
well,
inspiring.
thanks. Appreciate it. Give me some background. So growing up in Ohio, but also like when did you start getting into music?
So I've been into music since I was younger. I grew up in Fostoria. I was basically writing music my whole life. And as I got older, I got more involved during the COVID phase. Um, I wrote a song called Locked In, and that kind of hit hard with quite a few people. I never actually put it out though. Um, there was a lot of songs I wrote during that time. I wrote a song called Dark of Night.
Hmm.
Uh, that was kind of about fighting depression and anxiety. A lot of the songs I wrote during that time were about that.
Would you say that a lot of this from COVID impacted, or do you think maybe there was already something underlying and then during lockdown and COVID, it just amplified it? And not specifically for you, but I think for a lot of people, this could have been a trigger point.
I think a lot of people started coming up with a lot of interesting ideas during the COVID phase because, everybody was locked in their homes. I was in my home for probably 6 months away from work, away from my job, just writing music. I locked myself into that time, and
Wow.
a lot of the music that I have written came out of that time.
Yeah. I think I've seen that you play guitar, but what other instruments do you also?
I play a little bit of keyboard, mainly guitar and keyboard. I'd love to learn the drums.
Hmm.
Um, I I can work really good with synths. I do a lot of computer production. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about the extent of it. As far as my instrument playing goes, I mean, my voice, I can reach my voice to heights that I haven't even done yet.
So was this something that you took training, or how did when you got into music, was this like, or did you have like guitar lessons and things like that?
I kind of trained myself. I was
Yeah.
basically learning off of YouTube videos and just
Wow.
just
That's
five
really
minutes
cool.
of practice every day goes so far.
Yeah. So, okay. Now we're going to jump into your 10 tracks in a minute, but obviously I've listened to some of your stuff and I've checked out a few of you stuff on YouTube, which you have quite a lot of. I'm curious if you do the animation in some of the all of the videos yourself, or is that working with someone else?
A lot of the stuff is done by myself. I do a
Wow.
lot of computer design. I went to college. Uh, I took some computer design classes in college, so that really helped me
Okay.
there. Um,
Now that's because it looks very creative and very interesting, and so that's why I'm just curious, like as what I saw. Now, but also you have some songs on SoundCloud and then Spotify, but you obviously there's a song which is going to be track one, which we'll talk about, but your version I've heard, and the guitar bits in particular, um, it almost sounds spot on
you're
the
talking
way
"Wish You Were Here" by Pink
Wish You
Floyd,
Were Here.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Pink Floyd.
Yeah, that was really a song that that one really hit me during COVID. That's about the time that I put it out on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
Um, it was about being secluded and I think that's kind of why Pink Floyd wrote it. They felt so far away from everybody that they loved, but they just, they wish they were there.
yeah. Well, I guess we will jump into track one, and so let's officially say this is your first track is Pink Floyd "Wish You Were Here." But I guess my why I jumped so quick is because you saying that you kind of just watched a few YouTube videos to play guitar and then you play your if I'll put a link for people to find your version of Wish You Were Here in the guitar link, but it's incredible that because I could watch 1,000 YouTube videos on playing guitar and I have a guitar. I don't think I'm going to be able to play uh Wish You Were Here that precise, and it's pretty. So, I mean, and I've worked with a lot of friends. I've been in bands where the guitarists and some of my good friends who are guitarists, they were self-taught and just kind of ear. It just came by to them.
Yeah,
They don't know to play with notes, or music sheets and stuff. So that's pretty incredible.
yeah, I think music's always just kind of come to me, as with any artist, as with some artists. I shouldn't say any artist. Uh, some people just have an ear for music,
Yeah.
and they're able to play melodies off of that.
I mean, so tell me more about track one. What else? Obviously, this hit you really hard during COVID, but I mean,
Um,
this song's been iconic for Pink Floyd, and
yeah.
when they play it in concerts, it's huge. So it's a great song, by the way, just in my personal opinion.
So, the first cover that I ever did of Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, I was sitting around a campfire with a friend of mine, very good friend, My High Volina. You can find some of his music on YouTube, SoundCloud,
Hmm.
uh, Spotify, Apple Music, just like you can find any of my music there. Um, I've collaborated with him quite a bit on quite a few things. Wish You Were Here. It kind of fits good in that setting of being around a campfire and just
Mm,
living in that moment.
yeah, that's a great setting. You're actually right. I think that's something just to kind of unite people together, but also there's such a, powerful song and message to share while you're doing that. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Um, so when you started to get into like listening to music now, just I'm going to give another spoiler, but your 10 songs here are you've got a lot of songs from the 70s, and then a few in 80s and now, but there's a lot like you've found the blueprint of some of the best artists who write songs on your list, which is incredible because obviously, I think most people would agree with you that these artists are incredible. But I think,
Yeah.
is it for you the songwriting and the story they're telling?
To me, any song that I listen to, any song that I connect with, I connect through the songwriting. And sometimes it's just through the voice or the instrumental.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be any one particular thing. Um, to me, I'm just trying to be myself, and I'm not
You
really
we
trying to be
mentioned
like anybody else.
But we mentioned genre blending. I think this is an interesting because obviously you take your influences, but then when you interpret those influences and you create your own sound, your own, and it's not. It's funny because the more meeting guests and more we're talking about music, especially with other musicians, it's interesting that they say they're influenced by these new genres of music, which I'm not as familiar with most of them. I think there was less subgenres than they are now. Emo, stoner rock, things like that. Which again, before I think it was either super heavy. You might have had speed metal, and then you had heavy metal. But it's interesting with these subgenres. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of artists are tending to bleed through one. I wouldn't want to be pigeonholed into one genre either. I think, because
That's
influences
too
come from
boring.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always definitely liked to experiment with different genres. I've dabbled a little bit into trap, hip hop, R&B, lo-fi,
Mm.
uh, country, rock. I I could never see myself just doing one genre of music, much like these artists that I'm talking about today.
Hmm.
I just think that would be boring.
Is there any influence from your hometown or from, in the state of Ohio that kind of influences your music?
I could say Machine Gun Kelly. He hails from Cleveland. Uh,
Hmm.
a lot of his music I've really gotten into. My ex's best friend. That was one to remember. Um, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's jump into track two. This is Black Sabbath Changes.
So yeah, that one I'm gonna be coming out with a cover of it at the end of the year. But that one really connected with me. It's about going through life's changes. We're always changing. That's what I thought the first time I listened to that song.
Yeah. I remember I had some early Black Sabbath records when I was young, and I think I got one through a friend or somebody gave it to me, and it was it might have been the first album, which was, I mean, heavy. But then I remember hearing Changes, and it was so different to some of the more heavy stuff, but
Yeah.
such a great ballad, and so um, just the lyrics are so raw and kind of to you. So, I've been very fan of Black Sabbath and some of Ozzy's stuff that he's done over the years. Um, but I remember there was even a mix with Eminem. I think he's done part of the song, or I thought it was Eminem, maybe
Oh, really? That
that
one
he's
I
done
have
it.
not seen.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was Eminem. If I'm wrong, then whoever the artist is, but it was taking changes, and there's bits of I think Ozzy's voice in there with, and then he's
Youngblood.
rapping it.
Youngblood.
Is it Youngblood?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Why do I think maybe I'm gonna double check if Eminem had anything to do with changes as well. Maybe Youngblood's the one with Ozzy singing, but then maybe there's something that Eminem did or tried to do
Hmm.
himself. I need to check. It might have been a later one of his records. So, um, so you are going to do a version of this?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be releasing a cover for New Year's. This is the
Okay.
first time I'm saying that. Um, that will actually come out at midnight, December 31st. I'm gonna be doing a cover
Wow.
of Changes. I've already heard some people listen to it, and they have some really good opinions on it. They're quite impressed by it, so I'm excited for everybody to hear it.
Are you keeping it very similar to the original with a sort of piano version, or are you doing some
It is going to be
mix-ups?
a little more piano. Um, I'm not trying to sound like Ozzy in it. My voice, I think, kind of fits it. Uh, I've always leaned towards rock. I've done a lot of rock stuff in the past. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
So when you're writing music, you're looking at a lot of your influences. You've done, I think, on SoundCloud and even mostly you do have covers of different artists that you've been influenced by, right? I think even you did a One Direction song too.
Yeah, I actually did a cover of One Direction's Night Changes in tribute of Liam Payne, one of their bandmates who passed away last year.
Okay. Yeah.
I released that around Christmas time last year. I think I'm actually coming up on the 1 year anniversary of that.
Wow. Okay.
I did
Yeah.
that with my bandmate My High, who I've talked about.
Hmm.
I collaborated several times with him.
Now, when you're coming up with the music or your own stuff, now are you writing the lyrics first, or are you doing maybe a melody and then you kind of put some words to that and kind of come up with the song?
To me, it's a little bit of both. Sometimes I'll just come up with some lyrics in my head and I'll put that down, in the notes on my iPhone, or I'll scribble it down on a piece of paper. And that's an idea for me to work off of later. Or I'll just come up with a melody in my head and kind of work off of that.
Hmm.
Um, like with my song Locked In, I didn't really have a melody for that. I just kind of came up with that. I sat down on my bedside one day and just let out all my feelings onto a piece of paper. Um,
Yeah.
I have a song called Demons. I kind of got the melody to that in my head and worked the lyrics off of that. Like, can't get you out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that's kind of what I worked off of there.
Do you think that if there wasn't all this stuff that we had to all go through in the world, COVID and and these types of lockdown, do you think that would have uh maybe your creative time would have been reduced, or you would have had to sort of channel this in different ways, or because obviously being in lockdown, you had a lot of time to make music, write music, think of music, and obviously some of it was very painful, but it was a lot of time. It's almost like someone saying, okay, well, you have to make this record, and I'm going to lock you in a studio for 30 days, and you got to make the record. You can't leave. We'll put you a plate of food or something like that, so you don't starve.
Um, yeah, I think my time definitely would have been reduced, and being able to work on this music the way that I have been, I never would have gotten as involved. I would have had to work around it with work and everything else. I think everything definitely would have been different during COVID. Right at the very end of it, I went on a trip all the way to Florida. I've never, I never went out of state by myself before.
Hmm.
And now I was going, from Ohio to Florida, 1,000 miles away by myself. That was a little exhilarating, but I was, trying to get the adventure out of it, get the inspiration. I wanted to
Yeah,
keep
for sure.
writing and writing and writing.
Let's jump into track 3. This is Imagine from John Lennon.
So that's another one that I've actually done a cover of in the past. Um, I I think that one really hits hard. It's about talking, what if we live this peaceful life, this perfect life? Imagine all the people living life in peace. I
Do
think
you
a
think it's
lot of the
possible?
no, with the current state of the world, I would not say it's possible.
Yeah, might agree. Sadly. It's a beautiful song. Obviously, this is one of John Lennon's, solo. iconic records. But I mean, what makes you gravitate to these types of songs? Because again, Wish You Were Here, Changes, Imagine, these are just monsters. I mean, huge.
I think I've always gravitated towards songs that make you feel bigger than yourself. Um,
Yeah.
Changes, it has, such deep meaning. You're constantly changing. Wish you were here. You feel alone and you just wish that person would be there. Um,
Is there one artist that you would say is maybe your biggest influence? Or, just even though you have obviously lots of, is there one that's kind of like your
I would say probably David Bowie. I loved how he was constantly so artistic with
changing?
his movement, and he was constantly doing something different. He was
Yeah.
constantly changing, much like myself. I feel like I'm constantly changing every day. I'm a different person.
That's an interesting, well, a great artist that you picked, but it's interesting because Bowie was almost like a sponge. Whenever new music would come out, when new artists, as he got older, he gravitated to that, and it also kind of uh, would absorb some of that into. I think another artist that I personally think does this or has done it is Madonna. Whether you like her or don't like her, I have strong opinions about some of her stuff here and there over the years, but I felt like she is also this sponge. I mean, she's worked with, I think, what's his name? William Orbit, who's a producer, who's done more, that kind of stuff. He's also worked with Blur. She's worked with Massive Attack, so she's definitely kind of gravitated with artists who are not her typical, you think she would stay in her lane. So I think it's really interesting how you picked Bowie, but because he never stayed in his lane, he's worked with a lot of different types of artists
Yeah,
and a lot of different genres, but still true to himself.
he's constantly went beyond his limitations, and one day I'm gonna work with an R&B artist. The next day I'm gonna do this. The next day I'm gonna do pop music.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I feel like he really represents that as well as, like you said, Madonna.
So this version of Imagine that you're going to do, has that already come out, or is this something that you're working on?
I actually did do a cover and put it on SoundCloud a long while back.
Yeah,
That'd like to be something that I want to revisit and put out on other distribution and services in the future.
yeah. So a question about your own music that you're writing. What is your goal? Is this to maybe be an actual artist and write and sing and perform your own stuff, or is this something that you want to write the songs and have other artists, uh, take your songs and make them?
This is something that I actually want to put myself into. I know what I'm capable of. A lot of my lyrics are personal to me, so giving them lyrics to another artist to me would be like giving away a part of myself and the lyrics that I
Yeah.
should be singing, the lyrics that I want to sing.
And I think maybe when we were talking before, I asked you, but have you performed live with any of your songs?
I have done a few. There was one that I did at a local talent show last year, actually. Lullaby. That was another collaboration with a friend of mine. It was very anxiety inducing doing it in front of people, but
Hmm.
it's something that I know that I'm gonna have to get used to, and I'm working towards some more shows next year.
Does it feel comfortable getting in front of crowds or a little bit nervous?
I think the more people, I actually get less anxiety. The
Yeah.
more people there are, it's like, we have ants in the crowd.
Yeah.
You don't really see everybody. If you have one person staring at you, you're gonna realize it though.
I was talking to a leadership coach, and she was telling me when she has had small groups, she sometimes gets nervous, before she's going to go
Yeah,
on stage and speak, and then she's had something like 10,000 in the audience, and I was like, "Would you not more nervous because you knew that it was 10,000 people in there?" And she said, "No." She goes, "Actually, that was easier because you just kind of focus on one person." And like you're talking to them, and so it's
yeah,
less intimidating, less than um and I remember speaking, not performing, with about 100 people in the room, and that was very nervous to me. Small groups I'm fine, but when it gets bigger, that's when I'm kind of, and it should be the other way around. I should be probably less, to your point, but yeah, that's a funny one.
yeah. Like you said, I think I'd rather have 1 million people in the audience versus 10 people. Um, I've always gone by the quote, just imagine everybody naked.
Yeah, true. Interesting. Um, let's jump to track 4. This is Prince, Purple Rain.
That's an obvious classic. I think that one really hits hard. Uh, I was so distraught when Prince passed away. I was probably, I wouldn't say one of his biggest fans, maybe top 10, top 20. Um, I just love the theme of Purple Rain. It was about redemption, love, loyalty, uh, everything, Prince was feeling, he really put it into that song.
Yeah. This
And you gotta love his Super Bowl performance of it.
yeah, that was when it was raining as well.
Yeah.
I actually did see Prince live. Growing up in New Orleans, I was very young, but he played Purple Rain, so it was this tour for this album, and he was playing in the. It was then just called the Superdome. I don't know. I think it's Mercedes Bowl or something like that, or whatever. But it's the Superdome still is kind of part of the name. But it was obviously I was just one of maybe 10, 15,000 people in the stadium, the dome. But it was still incredible. And of course, when he played this, back then it was more people had their
Yeah.
lighters. So they were using lighters. They didn't have their mobile phones that they could light up. Um, but Prince was a huge influence on me growing up. And, I think I got into him on the album before Purple Rain came out. So Controversy. And that was like when I first kind of got caught of him. And then listening to some of his earlier stuff. And then when Purple Rain came out, it was this whole story, like you say, and then the movie kind of attached to it was also incredible because it was just these different pieces, but him sharing a lot of himself to the world.
Yeah, it really was. It was about the death of his father. I just came out with a song called I'll Follow, about the death of my grandfather back in 2006. That song was definitely deeply personal to me. And
Hmm.
I feel like Purple Rain kind of represented the same thing to him at that time.
When you're writing songs, is there like, do you kind of have an easy stopping point? Do you say, okay, this is it, this is enough, this is the song, it's finished? Or do you kind of toy around with and think, or over toy maybe sometimes some artists do?
So I've written songs before only to put them on track just to add more lyrics in the end, just because I didn't think they were long enough. Um, yeah, there's definitely a lot of songs that I've had to toy around with and kind of changed up the lyrics to make them not sound so dark or not sound so sad. I've been told a lot of my songs are sad, which a lot of them are. I think that's a part of writing music. You write sad music, you write happy music. It's whatever you're feeling at that time. I
Yeah.
I've really had a lot of problems with sadness in the past. I've been homeless. I've lost my job. a lot of stuff's happened to me. And I've wrote about that.
Do you think it's helped you get through a lot of this by kind of releasing these songs and putting some of the motion into the songs? I mean, to me, it's a positive way to do it in some ways.
Sometimes I'm so sad I don't even want to write music, and then I'll come back to it later and remember them feelings that I was feeling at that time. I think a lot of the time it is kind of counseling to me. It's mediative,
Yeah.
being able to let my feelings out on paper. Um, I have a new app coming out next year. Have a happy day. I kind of want to represent that in two parts. I have an act one and an act two. Act one's supposed to be all about the darkness, and act two coming out of that darkness, and I feel like that's really going to show in the music.
Yeah. So this is an app that you're creating independent to your music, but obviously it's in your music is
So,
kind of a part of it.
yeah, act act one, the first app, about six, seven songs. I'm still kind of undecided on that. I have quite a few songs recorded already. I have quite a few songs that I'm already working on. Act two, that's gonna be more of the brighter tone of the album. Act one and act two come together to make an entire album.
Okay. But where does the app come into this? Like as in a physical app? Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, it'll be a physical app.
Okay, cool.
An app like half an album. It'll be distributed digitally on all platforms as well. So,
Okay, interesting. Well, I don't think any artists are doing like creating apps to share their music, no?
yeah, it's definitely an interesting idea. You have an app and then you have the full album.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds interesting. So this is the first app that you're creating, and it'll be about six songs.
Yes,
Okay.
seven
And then
actually.
seven. And then you'll create a second app, or will it be you'll add to the app if you put
So
more
yes,
songs?
I'm already in the process of working on a second app, Act Two, and
Act two.
that's gonna
Okay.
be more the brighter tone, the brighter songs,
Yeah.
songs that you listen to on uh, in the middle of the summer on a car drive. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay. Let's jump into track five. This is another, I mean, just massive songwriters and artists, and especially this band's a powerhouse with different artists. Fleetwood Mac, Landslide,
That one really connects to me. Um, I'm sure you've heard the song before.
many
It's
times.
about growing up, getting older, moving through life, climbing
Yep,
mountains.
exactly. I remember hearing this song because obviously I'm familiar with Fleetwood Mac, but I was never really growing up. There was always a few songs that I liked, but I think they were just there, and so for me, I just for whatever reason, I didn't pay too much attention to them. I was in an Uber when I lived in Los Angeles a few years back, and I remember being in the back of an Uber or whatever the other ones are called, and just the radio was on. It was on a station, and it was the live version of this from one of their albums they did. I think it was when they kind of a reunion of them getting back together after a while. And so this was the live version of Landslide with Stevie Nicks. And it was just so powerful. And I remember hearing, I'm like, I knew the song, but I didn't remember it that well. And so when I heard this, I was
Yeah.
like, holy crap. And I think there was already Spotify or some of the streamings or definitely iTunes. So I went to find the song because I was just like captivated by it again because of the lyrics and exactly what you're saying. It's like reflecting on her life, or I think Stevie Nicks wrote this, if I'm not mistaken, but just, changes. And again, it's got that changes vibe in there, which is so interesting.
Yeah, the song really connected to me. It like you said, it does have that changes vibe. It's about moving through life. It's about constantly changing, climbing mountains. Them kind of songs really connect to me.
Yeah.
Songs that inspire you to keep moving forward.
And it might have been a little bit of a love song too. I mean, is that something that you're mixing into your, genre, love songs?
Yeah, so I have a lot of songs based off love. My song Demons, that is based off love. It's about somebody I just couldn't get out of my head for months and months and months. Yeah, it's a very personal story. This entire album, this entire app is.
Okay, that's interesting. So Demons is another new song that you have that's part of the app. That's on the of the seven.
Yes, that one's actually out right now, along with I'll Follow. Both of those
Okay.
will be on the app. Um, I'm super excited for that. The way that I'm able to mesh genres between rock and trap music and lo-fi. Some of the songs are really spectacular, and I haven't even released them all yet.
Yeah. Um, And then let me know, can you share a little bit about your recording? So are you going into a studio? Do you have your home studio is it on your computer? Like, how are you getting the music? Uh,
So a lot of my vocal recordings I'll do at home, and I'll work with other artists remotely through my distributor. And they'll produce it from wherever they are and send it back to me. But I've also worked with some local artists as well, um, some local producers.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, a little bit of both. I've done a lot of remote stuff as well as stuff in the studio.
Yeah. I mean, these days it's incredible. Just you can be based anywhere. I mean, this is big artists do this. This isn't just, like up and coming artists and stuff. But you can be in LA, you can be in New York, you can be in London, and you can write your stuff and have it recorded in one place and then send it, and then they mix it or, mash it together and whatnot.
Yeah,
And then the song is completed, and then I guess you got to get it, just the final bits and bobs of it. But it's pretty incredible how you can. Um, I had one guest who is making music with friends, and they were all doing, their bits separately in different
yeah.
countries, but also they used plants. So
Oh wow.
plants were they were the musicians as well. Two of the artists on the recording of the song were plants. And there's a ways that they can clip
Interesting.
the clip to the leaves of the plants, and certain types of plants obviously have more vibrations and musical notes, so to speak. And they did that, and then they played along with it. And it's a bit of kind of a almost a jazz to ambient kind of fusion with this. But the difference with working, probably the same with kids and dogs, is with plants, is that you're never going to get the same song twice. So you'll get one take, and then that's it. If you do again, it's going to be a completely different take to that. So it's very
Yeah.
abstract and avant-garde and whatnot. But it's cool. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, for example, I'll Follow, one of my most recent single, I actually worked with a producer out of Italy, Diego Fernandez. He was spectacular to work with, and I would work with him again. Um, I have another song called Round and Round coming. I'm working with another producer in Italy who focuses more on EDM type music, so I'm pretty excited for that.
What's EDM?
EDM, it's more high vibrational music, more of the instrumentals, more of the clip vocals.
Okay. Just for those listening who don't know what that is, including me, that's sometimes I need those kind of is
Um,
there Go ahead.
No, you first.
I was just gonna say, speaking about like trap music or other genres there, so how has it anything that's really sounded a lot different to some of your maybe earlier stuff where you're putting drum machines or having certain kinds of more um hip hop beats or something that kind of mesh into your guitars and other synths or keyboards and stuff?
So yeah, I'm starting to definitely use a lot more of the synths and stuff in my songs. Um, a lot of my new albums inspired by Pink Floyd and them high vibrational kind of instrumentals and letting I don't know if you know what a mantra is, but
Hmm.
letting them kind of words flow out of me, something that's gonna stick in people's heads and make them happy and make them have a happy day.
Yeah. Do you think people are not having happy days in general?
I think there's definitely a lot of sadness in the world, and I think things need to brighten up, and I think we can do that through music.
Absolutely. I think music is definitely, uh, especially, a lot of people, you can't agree on everything or you can't agree on anything, yet sometimes you can agree on music. And that tends to be, if you can agree on music, then there should be ways you can find more common ground.
Music is
So
the ultimate healer.
yeah,
Music
for
makes
sure.
us happy.
This is a good segue into track 6, which is your track. And we've been talking about this a bit, and this is Have a Happy Day. And I guess this is going to be in the app.
So yes, it's actually the last song on this app, and it will transition into an act two of this song. Surprise, surprise. Um, this one definitely takes a lot of inspiration off Pink Floyd. I input a lot of nature sounds in it, wind blowing, whistling. I just wanted it to feel like you were in the moment. You were talking earlier about ambient music. This is ambient music in its fullest form.
Yeah. And I think you have a bit of a teaser of this on social, maybe on YouTube, but you're and maybe some social media, but then you're going to drop this when the app comes out, right?
Yes, once the app comes out, Have a Happy Day, Act One will be dropped with it.
Yeah. It's interesting though because I think I'm definitely gravitate with artists who have a lot more heartfelt stuff that they write in their lyrics and their songs. Some think they're a little bit depressing or dark, but I feel like there's so much passion and so much beauty out of that, and I personally feel like there's positivity. So I don't think that because you listen to a dark song that's going to bring you darker. I think you find the light in that song and that there is light. It's just that they've done it in such a way that maybe doesn't look to the blind ear or blind listener that it's light. I think it's all in interpretation, and everyone's entitled to
Yeah.
interpretation as they wish. But I mean, I look at people like Nick Cave. Don't know if familiar or like him, but his songs tend to be very dark in a way, but I think there's so much humor and beauty and light in his stuff. Um, and I think there's a lot of artists like that.
Yeah, and with Have a Happy Day, it's kind of about coming out of that darkness and going into the light, which is why I made it the last song on this app, which will transition into the rest of the song on the next app. It's definitely an interesting idea, and I'm excited to release it and for everybody to hear it.
So right now, the stuff that you have released on different platforms, are you getting a lot of feedback outside of your community or people who locally who you're connected with? Are you seeing people connect with you? Like you said, Italy, you have a producer and stuff like that, but elsewhere?
Yeah, so I definitely have people come up to me all the time and ask me if I'm, Daniel Alspach, who they see on Facebook or YouTube or Spotify, and just tell me how much they love my music. It's kind of mind blowing that people actually listen to my stuff who I've never spoken to before, complete strangers. I'll get emails from producers sometimes, and it's definitely a whirlwind.
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is there any either local or artists elsewhere that you've connected with that you're gonna want to try to maybe do something together, or is there even a another singer to maybe sing with, or kind of a duet, male or female?
So yeah, I've worked a lot with a very good friend of mine, Sabrina Stacy, on a lot of tracks. She's done a lot of the beat work for me. She's done a lot of the singing for me, the background vocals. She's definitely been a partner that I'll work with for quite a long time.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's um let's jump into track 8. This is Mockingbird by Eminem.
So Mockingbird, I can't really connect with this. I don't have any children, but I just love the way that Eminem he kind of make made conscious rap, especially through this song. It was about, it was like a nursery rhyme to his daughter. It that's why it connected to me. It made me think, what if we sung this to our kid going to sleep? I have a song called Lullaby that I've spoken about before, kind of like that. It's based off a nursery rhyme,
Hmm.
something that you would use to sing your kid to sleep. Um, yeah.
I mean, I do listen to quite a bit of Eminem, and I think that he's where maybe other artists that I like, and even stuff that I've, over the years, my own stuff that when I was younger doing, um, he goes places that I think other artists don't go in terms of the rawness and the honesty. And I feel like that's what makes him so relatable, but also true to himself. Because other artists may kind of go into some areas and talk about things that are personal or hard to talk about, but he kind of just leaves it open. It's like it's hard for them to gossip
He
about
talks
him
about what
because,
he's going through.
yeah, if he's in addiction, if he's in recovery, if he's in, this or that, he talks about it and shares all of this, the good, the bad, and then obviously he has the more humor side and can take things in a sort of playful way. But I find even if you are not big into hip hop or rap, it's hard to not just respect just the storytelling that he does and what he's creating.
Yeah, I definitely think Eminem hits different in a way that he's not always talking about sex. He's not always talking about drugs. He just talks about, I went through this. I'm going through recovery. I've went through recovery. I want to sing this to my daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes him interesting, and which obviously a lot of people in the rap community, why they respect him, because he's doing his thing. Obviously, he's inspired by other huge rap artists and the genre, but I don't think he's trying to duplicate directly other artists. He does his own, and it's kind of created where other artists have
There
now been
is no
inspired by
one
him.
like Eminem. Eminem
No,
is Eminem.
yeah. So I think for someone who has kind of borrowed the genre in some ways, which you could say, and I think nowadays it's kind of hard to say, well, music is music, and as much as you like jazz, you like this, or which comes from certain communities. I think that music is still because you like it and because it captures you and it's a part of you, you can't just say, well, I shouldn't do that because it's not my music or it's not where I come from. I think that's it could be, I don't know, so many different genres. If it's something that you relate to and just is in your passion, then I feel like people, you should be inspired and should, but do it in a respectful way to the community, of course.
Yeah, and with a lot of my musical direction, it's come from going to places. I visited Tennessee and that inspired a song of mine. I went to Florida, I went to Pennsylvania, I went all over. Just haven't been out of the country yet. But I think a lot of it's still authentic to me. I could do country and it still be authentic to me because I've been to Tennessee, I've seen Nashville, I've seen Memphis.
Yeah. Is there been anybody who's, shared with you what they think some of your songs or what it sounds like what to them or what maybe they've like said, oh, this reminds me of so and so. Has there been anything that's been interesting that people compare you to or stuff that you wouldn't even think that was not where I was going with this, song, but that people just because I remember telling artists wow, this song to me it sounds like it's influenced by so and so, and they're like, really? That I don't even know that person, or I'm not interested, or not like following them.
Yeah, I've definitely been compared to artists in the past, uh, without intending to be. It's it's kind of it's kind of crazy. I wasn't really trying to be that artist yet. People tell me I am like that artist. Uh, yeah. I can't really think of any artist in particular that I've been told that I'm like, but yeah, it's happened.
Interesting. Let's jump to track 9. This is Empty from Juice World.
So this is another song that really hit me in a time of Great Depression, Great Depression within myself. Um, it's about feeling empty, feeling like everything in the world just lost. And that's why this song in particular really connected to me.
I wasn't familiar with this song, but listened to it a couple of times since she shared it with me, and is definitely raw in his lyrics. And what he's talking about. But obviously, it has a very strong beat in the music itself, behind it. But this was, I think, around 2010. This came out, or some from him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, somewhere right around then. Juice World as an artist really connects with me. I really like a lot of his music. It's more conscious and it's not just, alcohol, sex, drugs. It's all about everything that he's gone through as somebody who battled addiction and is
Yeah.
going through recovery.
Um, is this a big influence on you, this artist?
I think he's inspired a lot of my music. A lot of my music really is conscious and
So, Daniel, just tell me some things where, like, for you to stay not necessarily in a happy place, but for you to just be stronger with life and with what you're dealing with. Is there certain things that you do, like, I don't know, you mentioned mantra, but is there like meditation? Do you do some types of things that uh, kind of connect with your inner self?
so I feel like anybody who's battled these things, meditation definitely helps me personally. For some people, it's just having somebody to talk to. Uh, I've definitely gotten more active in the art of meditation. I've always done it since I've been younger. That's
Hmm.
just what I do to calm down, uh, to clear my mind. Everybody needs to have them certain practices to clear their minds.
Yeah.
Sometimes to me, it's lyrics, writing music, playing guitar. That's everything that puts me in the right place to keep pushing.
That sounds like a very positive thing to do. I think, I mean, personally, meditation, I think no one's too young or too old to do it or to start doing it. Breath work is another good thing for when people are anxious and anxiety.
Yeah,
I think you can explore different types of sports, in terms of personal like exercise and things, but also, you can go to even versions of yoga or something like that. I think there's like being able to kind of link with because talking to a lot of people over the last couple of years, even before COVID, um, you you know, our body tells us what's wrong, and you got to listen to what your
yeah,
mind and your body kind of telling you when things are wrong or when things need to be. And a lot of times we just ignore that voice or that kind of sign. um, so it's sometimes, and I think, but also having outlets to be able to do so, music obviously, and being an artist to do that is especially a gift that's worth,
one of the biggest gifts.
yeah, for sure. And it definitely can be part of the way to release and heal and produce and create.
Yeah,
But also it can be a good, and I think even if you're not an artist in that respect, whether painting, writing, or creating music, I think that everyone has that gift inside them to also to do.
exactly. He- I think everybody has a certain gift inside of them to keep pushing.
So tell me what's the long kind of game for you regarding you being an artist is, you got these two, act one and act two, that you're going to be working on and that you're going to be releasing. Um, and where do you see yourself, or where do you want to see yourself in a couple of years with this?
In a couple of years, I hope I'm living big in another country.
Okay.
I that would be the dream, huh? Um, yeah, in a couple of years, I hope my music's at least gotten out to a few more people. If not, I'll still keep writing it until the day I die. So,
Yeah. And how does it relate to friends and family? Do they connect with what you're doing?
yeah, a lot of the songs are about loss in my family, uh, about death. A lot of the songs are just telling other people's stories that they can really connect to. Um, I'm not only inspired by myself and by everything that I've gone through, but other people as well. I've written songs based on other people. They don't even have to be your own stories to write them.
No, of course not. Absolutely. I mean, you can, Eleanor Rigby is just a kind of kind of a dream, almost. We jump into track 10, your last song. This is by the Disturbed, and the song
Sound
is
of Silence.
the Sound of Silence, which is the Simon and Garfunkel song from the 60s.
Yeah, so Sound of Silence to me was more based off living in that quiet world. Hearing no, it's like no one hears you. That's what Sound of Silence to me was about, the lyrics. Uh you're living in such a big world, but no one hears you. It's like the entire world is silent.
Yeah.
Um
Or
and
you're
this
invisible.
I that's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
Um I think we've all gone through that. This isn't necessarily what I'm feeling right now. Um, but I was feeling it in the past.
Yeah. It's very. I mean, I've listened to the Simon and Garfunkel song for many years, obviously, and then hearing this version is really powerful. I think they've done it justice. I mean, there's a lot of when you hear covers, um, it tends to be either, a kind of a replica, or it tends to be something so far, whether good or bad. Whereas I feel like this is made their own version, which is almost like their own song, but you obviously, you hear the words and they have some of the same harmonies from the original, but the words are still as relevant today as they were when Simon and Garfunkel wrote it. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to hear this version because this was, I think, around 2015. Disturbed did it, but I really enjoyed this version. It was actually pretty, and it felt like they put a little bit more as you said, what how you related to it. I think they captivated that darkness a little bit deeper than the original. Obviously, the original, was a very flowing song. This
Oh
they
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
highlighted or emphasized certain parts of that silence, the darkness, etc. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I did a song called Reap What You Sow a couple years back. Sound of Silence was one of them songs that I was really compared to at the time. It kind of has that darker feel, the darker tone. It's about reaping what you sow, getting things out of this life that you deserve.
Daniel, is there any songs that you didn't pick that probably just motivates you, inspires you, or that has a special meaning that maybe was on the short list but didn't get to since you could only pick 10?
I really connected to God Bless the Broken Road. That was a very big karaoke song of mine way back when. Rascal Flatts. Um, yeah,
What's the song about? I don't know that song.
God Bless the Broken Road. It's just it's basically a song about blessing that path in front of you, asking God for everything that you get in the future to be great and grand. That's what I feel like that song is about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. What about for people to connect with you if they want to hear your new stuff when it's dropped in the app? And how do they get a hold of you? Do you have, I know you're on SoundCloud, you're on Spotify in terms of just some of the music that's out there, but how do people, if they want to connect with you and get in touch? What's the best way?
So you can add me on Facebook, you can add me on Instagram. Um, I'm Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that distributes music, you can find me. I'm also on SoundCloud. Uh, yeah.
Excellent. Uh, Daniel, thank you for sharing your 10 tracks with us. It's been, like I said, all the songs you picked, I would say a lot of them, especially from the 70s, are just these giant songs that, obviously it's great to see um, how they still are relevant today with artists and fans because some of these songs you think in the past people start to overlook because of the current what's around. So finding these songs that are still so important to people and that people relate to and still connect with, I think is beautiful because I mean I was late catching Pink Floyd and obviously John Lennon. I think that song, I was born in the year that song came out, Imagine. So I had to still, kind of uh, find it and go back to it, so to speak. So I think it's great to see artists who are inspired by,
Yeah.
now, which are old songs, so to speak, in a good way.
Yeah, I feel like some music just doesn't know time. It goes beyond time and will
Yeah.
go until the end of time. Um, that's how I feel about a lot of these songs that I put on here. It's music that I grew up listening to. I've been more of a old soul my entire life.
I
It's
think
just
so.
part of
I
me.
think you've got a lot
Yeah.
of definitely with your influences, which is incredible. But they're all very good. So I think you should tap into that old soul and continue to tap into it, so to speak. It can serve you well.
Yeah.
Daniel, wish you the best. I hope much success for your new stuff coming out, and look forward to staying in touch and to see as with the new songs and how they go. Um, as I say goodbye to everybody, I say to be kind, be humble, be love, and I wish that to you as well. All the
It was
best.
great talking to you today. Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you. Pretty.